going to do is we're going to have a look at a couple of new characters that I haven't yet introduced to you. Now, the very first character happens when we have what you can see here, and that is an x times an x. So what we're going to do is put this into our question part of the working out area now. So we go our x, that's something with an x here, multiplied by an x going this way. Now what are we going to get? Well, we look here, we need something that has the height of an x and the width of an x. Now what is that? Well, it's an x squared. Now, why do we call it an x squared? Well, if you can look at it just like this, basically it's a square version of the x, isn't it? Because it's got exactly the same height as it does the width, and any shape that has the same height as it does the width is a square. So, like I said, it's a square version of the x, and we write x times x as being an x squared. Now, what happens if we get a y times a y? Well, press pause and try and figure it out yourself. Excellent, welcome back once again. So we're going to do y times a y, so our y, the very first one, goes over here, and the y goes up here like so. Now y times y, so we've got a y, something of the height of y, multiplied by something of the width of y, well that's going to be y squared. And like I said before with the x, this is basically just the square version of the y, because it's got the same height as it does the width. Now, what happens when we get x times a y? Well, let's put the x over here and the y up here like so. Now, these aren't the same height as they are width, are they? So what we're going to do is we're going to look for something that has the same height as an x and the same width as a y. Now, out of your sheet, like out of the sheet of things that you had before, well, that's going to be an xy. Now, if you have a look here, what we've essentially just done is gotten rid of this little times part here. And we can actually write it also as a yx. It doesn't really matter what order we have it in, because if I had y going down this way and x going this way, it's going to be the same thing, just the shape will be rotated around a little bit. So, like I said, this is called the xy, or we could also call it the yx. And basically, this is a rectangle with the length or the height of an x and the width of a y. Now, if we have a look at this one, we've got 2x times y. So what I want you to do is press pause and attempt it, and then come back once you're done so you can check your answers out against mine. Excellent, so welcome back. Now we've got 2x times y. So we're going to have 2x's over here, because that part there tells us what to put here, multiplied by the y. And I've got the multiplied by the y. Now, 2x times y, what are we going to get? Well, we've got a height of x and a width of y. So that's an xy. And this one here, a height of x and a width of y, so we've got an xy. So what have we got all together? Well, we've got 2 xy's, so our answer is 2xy. Now this one here is a little bit different once again, because we've got some brackets going on now. And this is saying x times x plus 3. So that means x times everything that's in the brackets. Now we actually don't need to write the times in the middle there, because we can actually just write it out as x bracket x plus 3. So if you see something like this, it means that there's a little hidden times there anyway. So let's go through and do this. Now the very first part of this, the x, is going to come over here. And then we're going to have x plus 3 up here. So that is an x with 3 units. Now let's go through and figure out what our answer is going to be. In our working out area, we're going to have something that is an x, a height of x, and a width of x. Well, that's going to be an x squared. This area here is going to be a height of x and a width of 1. Well, that is an x. A height of x, a width of 1, another x, and a height of x and a width of 1 is 1x, or x times 1 is 1x, x times 1 is 1x, and x times 1 is 1x. Now what have I got together? Well, I've got an x squared and 3 x's. Note that you can't join these ones up together because they're not the same shape, are they? So you've got an x squared plus 3x, and that's what you can see there. Now what I want you to do is press pause and attempt the following question. That is 2x multiplied by y plus 2. So go through and do it. Remember, when you're done, press play so you can check your answers against mine. Excellent, welcome back once again. So now we've got 2x's multiplied by y plus 2. So the very first part goes 2x over here, 2x over here, and then we've got y plus 2 over here. So we've got a y and a 2. That is 2 units. Now what's going to go in this area? So we've got an x times a y. Well, height of x, width of y is an xy. Once again, a height of x, a width of y, xy. This one here, a height of x, a width of 1 is an x. A height of x, a width of 1 is an x. Height of x, width of 1 is another x. And a height of x and a width of 1 is another x. Now, what is my answer altogether? Well, I've got 2xy's and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4x's. So it's going to be 2xy plus 4x. Now what I want you to do, guys, is go through and complete the questions on page 2 of this handout. So go to page 2 of the handout, go through and complete the question. Remember to use your multiplication chart once again and the rectangles to assist this. And of course, draw your working out in these boxes that you've seen. Now the other real key thing to this is that what I want you to do is look for any patterns that you can see as you go through and answer them and write them in this section just as you did before. And of course, if you think you're really good, go through and do the challenge section down the bottom. Alright, so when you've done that, actually go to the next video and try the harder questions once again. So we'll catch you soon.